NATO foreign ministers are meeting in Brussels to discuss how they can better fend off hybrid attacks against the alliance. Secretary-General Mark Rutte says the bloc wants to improve intelligence sharing and protection of critical infrastructure. He said Russia and China have been behind such attacks in the past.
A military maneuver in the Baltic Sea. NATO is stepping up patrols here and investing more in new technologies to better protect the critical infrastructure in waters that carry 15% of global shipping traffic. Sabotage of that infrastructure, as well as other forms of hybrid attacks, have become a pressing issue for the alliance.
I personally don't like the word hybrid because attacks are attacks and we have to deal with attacks as they come, whether that's on cyber, whether that's on the undersea infrastructure or others.
Estonia has been talking about this already more than a year. We arrested more than 10 persons at the end of the last year in Estonia and who were guided and financed by the Russian secret services.
Some NATO members have been pressing the alliance to take a tougher stance on the matter, with officials saying that Russia is showing an increased appetite for taking such risks. The alliance has a strategy in place for how to deal with hybrid warfare, but it dates back to 2015. During their meeting in Brussels, ministers are expected to call for an update.
NATO allies will continue to stand together to face these threats through a range of measures, including greater intelligence sharing and better protection of our critical infrastructure.
But NATO members are divided on how much to share about suspected acts of sabotage and what is the best way to address them.
Now let's go straight to Brussels and speak to Alexandra von Namen, bureau chief there, who filed this report. Alexandra, NATO foreign ministers are expected to come up with a new strategy to counter these so-called hybrid attacks. What could that look like?
Well, the NATO strategy that is currently in place is spectacularly outdated. This is the assessment of a NATO official, a senior NATO official, who is now in charge of drafting a new strategy. And he told us reporters here in Brussels how difficult it is for NATO to keep pace with developing technologies and that they have a lot of challenges to meet, for instance, the ambiguity of such attacks, whether you are talking about cyber attacks, hybrid attacks or disinformation. It's not always very easy to find enough evidence to attribute such attacks to a certain actor, whether it is Russia, China or Iran. And then, of course, such actors, they are targeting not NATO borders. NATO is quite good at protecting its borders, but such attacks are happening within NATO territory, and they are targeting not only military sites, but also critical infrastructure, communications cable, hospitals, or even elections. So that is why military has to work together with citizens, of course, with private companies, helping, for instance, cable operators to put more sensors at their cables. So all of that will be probably part of the new NATO strategy to counter hybrid attacks.
Alexandra, does that mean that NATO member states are currently not prepared to counter these attacks?
Well, they can be better prepared. That is what it means. I think there are a couple of them who have enough experience to counter cyber attacks or hybrid attacks in a better way. The Baltic states, for instance, but Germany could do more. Germany should invest more. That is what the German foreign minister, Annalena Baerbock, told us this morning, describing the situation in Germany. As you know, there has been a couple of incidents in Germany as well. One of them this summer, when a drone was able to fly over an industrial park, including critical infrastructure, and it took a while for the police to get control of the situation.
Now, support for Ukraine is also on the agenda today. The US announced a $725 million aid package for Kyiv. Why is the US taking these steps now?
U.S. Secretary of State Anthony Blinken has been repeating that again and again here in Brussels, that the incumbent U.S. administration is trying to get every dollar available out of the door to support Ukraine, because, of course, nobody knows whether the incoming administration, whether Donald Trump will continue providing Kiev with military support. So this is the reason behind that. They want to spend all the money already approved by the U.S. Congress to help Ukraine. And this strategy is broadly supported here by NATO members, because they understand they want to provide Ukraine with all the equipment, all the weapons they need to protect their cities, their infrastructure, and also they want to strengthen Kiev's position should there be any talks with Russia in the future.
DW's Alexandra von Namen there reporting from Brussels. Thank you very much, Alexandra.
Thank you.